We
You're
are
now
now live.
streaming live, and I gather that we also have the not the live stream, but the subtitles is on today. I'm not seeing that notice.
It is
But-
not on today. We'll start on Tuesday as you requested.
Oh, no, we can put it on. I just didn't have time to have all the text come in and explain it. We've been doing it in health and welfare, and if you don't want to see it, you can shut it off individually. And it does provide some comic relief. Abenaki came up as Able Nike.
Made in Malaysia.
So, yeah, the computers are very literal. So anyway, we're going to start knocking out the bills that are left. This is H-135, and this is the State Ethics Commission.
Senator, do you want to do governor's appointees before you launch?
No, we'll do those at the end.
Okay, thank you.
Everyone can have the weekend, but we're not going to meet Monday. So, Emeren.
Yes.
Yes. Can you just walk us through what are the Senate, the finance sections of this bill?
Certainly. For the record, Ameren Abergele, Legislative Counsel. So Section 1 makes miscellaneous changes throughout the some of the processes for the State Ethics Commission. The finance implications of this bill are in Section 2, which begins on page 13, specifically relating to a 2017 Act number 79, which was session law. And this 2017 Act has been amended several times, but you'll see the original section was Section 13, State Ethics Commission Funding Source Surcharge Repeal. And so I'll just read this for context. Subsection A, surcharge, notwithstanding the provisions of 3 VSA 2283C, setting forth the purpose and rate of charges collected in the Human Resource Services Internal Service Fund. In fiscal year 2018 and thereafter, a surcharge of up to 2.3%, but not greater than the cost of the activities of the State Ethics Commission set forth in Section 7 of this Act on the per position portion of the charges authorized in Title 3, Section 2283C2 shall be assessed to all executive branch agencies, departments, and offices, and shall be paid by all assessed entities solely with state funds. And you'll see that in subsection B on line 10, there is a repeal section. This section shall be repealed on, and it previously said June 30th, 2021. And so this bill would extend this surcharge until July 1st, 2022.
Okay. So why are we doing this a year at a time? Why? I mean, is that just so we might find another funding source? Okay. Who sent us this bill? What House committee did this come out of? Do you know, Emeren?
Government operations.
Government ops. Okay. Mr. Novins, who is the director of the State Ethics Commission, welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good
How are you?
afternoon. Do you know why we keep extending your funding by only a year?
I think because the Ethics Commission is seen as a work in progress. And right now we're in the early stages of its getting up and running. And I think it was originally scheduled for 1 year to see what happened. And then it was extended for another year. I think at some point it would be nice if it was a permanent budget item and allocation, but it's not at this time. When I last spoke to John Gannon about this, and we discussed whether the funding mechanism should be changed, I think the sense was that for now, this is working, and taking it 1 year at a time is probably the best way to go about it for now. Our big push from the Ethics Commission at this point is we were asked by the Senate and House Government Operations Committee a year ago to submit a draft code of ethics in the fall of 2020, which we did. And that is currently being considered as a proposed code of ethics, but it's nowhere near passage. It's not going to pass this year. So I think for now, to make a long answer short, we'd just like to keep things going the way they are. And then when we get an ethics code and see what things look like in the future, then we'll be in a better position to determine if a more permanent funding mechanism should be adopted.
Okay. Senator Bray, did you have a question?
No, I was just gonna, since I was on GovOps when we were doing some of this work last year, I would agree with what Ms. Nevin said. It's just that because it's new, rather than just said, this is, we'll do sort of a pay as we go model to get things started. And I would agree that it would be nice to get to a stable funding platform, but for what exact programming, there's been some pretty widely varying discussions about how big the program would be, et cetera, the scope, et cetera. So it's a great program, supported, just it's a work in progress, just as we heard.
Other questions for Mr. Novins?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
No, I just said, were there any other questions? If not, I believe Brenda Berry is here.
I am.
Okay, Brenda, have you got anything to you would like
I
us
am
to
just
know?
here in my role as a Deputy Chief Financial Officer for Agency of Administration Financial Services Division. I handle the financials for the Ethics Commission. So I'm just here supporting Larry and available to answer any questions that come up.
Okay.
So-
Committee, any questions?
Madam Chair, you're going to have to come closer. We're having a hard time.
I'm as close as I can
Oh.
get.
Sorry, but you
Yeah,
did
but
call
you
on me,
told
yes?
us then.
Okay, I just
Yep,
wanted
I
to.
did.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure from both Mr. Nobbins and Ms. Berry that the surcharge is sufficient to cover the budget, and that, okay, you're not looking for additional any other changes, just to carry it forward for another year until things are more settled.
Correct.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Senator Bray.
I don't know if it's premature or not, but I was going to offer a motion if the chair is ready to move
I
to
was
vote the
just
bill out.
about to ask for one, so if
All right.
you're ready.
I'm learning on the fly. I'd move that finance report out favorably the Senate's proposal amendment to H-135.
Okay, we've been asked that we vote this out favorably, H-135. Is there any further discussion? If not, please unmute. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Hearing no opposition, that carries 700. Senator Bray, would you like to report that since
Sure.
you were there at the founding? Okay,
Madam Chair,
yes.
Senator Bray, did you move, was the bill amended prior to it arriving
No.
to us?
Let me go. Let's
Is it
turn to
some
Village
other-
Council.
We didn't
can't-
amend it.
You did not amend it. Senate
Right.
Government Operations did do a few very
Right.
small changes.
Okay, so was your
So-
motion, well, but if we don't amend it, do we have
No.
to say as amended?
As amended, when amended is recommended by the Committee on Government Ops or whatever.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm sure that was
Yeah.
your motion, Senator
I mean,
Bray.
so-
I
so
actually
am
did
I.
say
Okay.
as amended.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Okay, then, thank you, Mr. Novins, and I think this will make folks feel more relaxed. The next one we have is H337
Thank you.
and H313. An act
Senator
related to,
Cummings, Tucker isn't here yet.
yeah, he's
Oh.
doing both. Okay,
He's just arrived.
just arrived. We're a couple minutes early. Okay, whenever Tucker is in, we will, there you are. We are just starting on 337, which is relating to the printing and distribution of state publications. You want to tell us what's going on with that bill?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. Tucker Anderson, Legislative Counsel. Primarily, as far as finance issues are concerned, you're going to be looking at Section 6 of the bill, which starts on page 4. And what is happening here is this is not new language. These are all duties and authorities that are currently fulfilled by the state librarian that are scattered between potentially 7 to 9 different statutes in a different title that are all being condensed down into one section here with a few important modifications. In general, the section requires the state librarian to distribute copies of the acts and resolves and the Vermont statutes annotated, the green books, to certain state offices that are enumerated throughout the statute. Under current law, the state librarian is required to send copies of the Vermont statutes annotated to each one of these state offices and officers. Here, there is a split between those offices that shall receive the Vermont statutes annotated automatically and those that will only receive copies if they are requested. So the obligation is on the institution or the office to request those copies. And the split happens all the way on page 5 in subsection C. It states that upon request, the state librarian shall give 1 copy of the VSA to a bar association, university, college, or public library that is located in Vermont, or 1 copy of the ANRs in the VSA to a member of the General Assembly. Overall, this is going to be a net reduction in the costs for the Department of Library to print and distribute these. That is the anticipation. And that is essentially what is happening here.
Okay. So committee, any questions? This is kind of what they do with us. They say, do you want him? And if we don't have any more room in our bookshelves, we say no, and you can look them up online if you want them. Senator Pearson.
Thank you. Tucker, if somebody requests one, do they then pay for them, or is it picked up by the state?
There is an allotment. So the state librarian here, if any of these institutions request, gives them away for free if they're listed in the statute. If you go to subsection D, under current law, the state librarian is allowed to sell additional copies that exist if an institution requests additional copies. And Senate GovOps introduced an amendment to clarify that that can only happen if the contract with the publisher permits the Department of Libraries and state librarian to sell those copies, because currently they are not allowed to under our contract with the printer. But yes, there may be instances where they're allowed to sell.
Further questions? Senator Hardy.
So this seems like an indirect relationship to our committee. Is that correct? There's not a specific revenue source that's being changed, is there, Tucker?
Well,
It is an indirect impact. It's really just about what the costs are going to be for the department to fulfill their statutory obligation. It's not a direct financial impact here.
Okay.
it affects how much money they're spending to print books, not, I'm not sure why we've got it, but Senator Pearson, did you have, we're just unmuting? Okay, so this just says that the librarian can ask these folks. All right, if there's no further questions, is there a motion?
So moved, I'll move that the committee accept the H 337 as amended by Senate Government Operations.
Okay. Approval has been moved as it was brought to us as amended by GovOps. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 I'd like to report this heavy duty bill.
I'll do it. I love
Okay.
libraries.
That's right. You like libraries. Okay, you've got it.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. Oh, this is like this is like finance of old here. We're just knocking them out. We're down to 313 miscellaneous amendments to alcoholic beverage laws. These are never quite that simple. So let's see what we've got. 313. And this is also yours, Tucker. Or Senator Sorokin. This came from Economic Development, right?
Yep, I'll let Tucker do it. Senator Clarkson's a pro on this one.
All right. So Tucker, what are they doing?
I don't know if anyone's a pro on these subjects, but maybe we're all amateurs. You know, we love it so much. There are three finance pieces here. The first two are in section 1, and they are amendments to license fees. And before we dip in, I'll note that these are both dealing with third-class license fees. And the classes are very confusing. So to keep it simple, third-class license fees apply to establishments that are selling spirits on their premises. Bars, restaurants, rail cars. If there's a booze boat out there, maybe they have a third-class license. So starting in subdivision A6, which is on page 1, line 14, there is a new fee being established here. These are for standalone third-class licenses. These are for establishments that only have a third-class license. They don't serve beer or wine. They only serve spirits, or otherwise they are only renewing their third-class license as opposed to anything else. This establishes a $50 local processing fee. The purpose behind this is to ensure that the municipalities get a share of a standalone fee from these establishments, because under general law in this same section, the municipalities get nothing from the license fee sharing setup for third-class licenses. So when these restaurants and bars that only have third-class licenses go through the local approval process, they're only paying the state, and the municipality doesn't get any share. So this establishes a $50 local processing fee. Later on in the section, it is expressly stated that the $50 is retained entirely by the municipality. Subdivision 24, which should immediately follow this on the page, establishes a new fee for third-class licenses that are granted to manufacturers. There's a complicated history behind this, but under current law,
Some of us were there for it.
under current law, a manufacturer is permitted to acquire a first or third class license, depending on what type of alcohol they manufacture, so that they can serve full pours of their beverages at their manufacturing location. If they don't get the first or the third, they can only serve samples under a fourth class license. So if they get the third class license, this fee is going to apply of $230. Under current law, If a manufacturer acquires a third-class license without this new lower fee, they pay $1,095 for their third-class license. So this is a reduction of the fees that will be paid by distillers who are going to serve full pours at their license location. $230 instead of $1,095.
Okay, Senator Pearson.
So this is only at the distillery. But why, I mean, is it easier for the state in some way? I mean, the premise would be that this fee should be hinged to the burden on the state. Why would it be different to have something at a distillery than your tavern down the street?
I think that's a fair policy question that I can't and
I
should not
think
answer.
Senator Sirotkin, what's the thinking behind this?
This was an amendment brought to us by Senator Ballant and Westman. I think the argument was there was less work and there was far less transactions going on in just the distillery. And I know the administration supported it. That's what I can tell you at this point. I can get you more information if you want.
There has been a long history during my time on economic development, which I've been on several times, of adjusting the law to help support locally made spirits. We started with wine and craft beer, and now we're doing hard spirits. But there is a long history of trying to not charge them. I think, though, some of them have gotten pretty big. And I'm not sure where you draw the line. Senator Bray.
Well, so in this case, it's just a license, but right, that we're talking about in order to become that sort of establishment. As long as we're covering the actual cost of any kind of regulation and nothing more, I'm as interested as making them as low as possible, because they pay in all sorts of other taxes and provide for all sorts of business. If you go by Otter Creek Brewery or the distillery in Middlebury on a weekend, see all sorts of cars lined up, and many of them are people who are, in the old days, people from out of state who are visiting. So to support one of the healthier parts of our sort of quote unquote food economy.
More cars gonna line up?
Drive through.
Okay, I've got Senator Hardy and then Senator Pearson.
Well, I think we need to be careful about talking about cars lining up for alcohol. We don't want.
Yes,
that's a
we
joke.
did make
understand
them
your
take
point.
down cold beer to go signs.
I understand your point, Senator Bray, but I just want, that makes me a little uncomfortable. And also health with alcohol. Also, we have to be careful of that, because there are, but from the point of the economy, I agree. I do have a question for Tucker. So this is basically a license on top of a license, right? Or a sub license or something like that. If they already have a certain kind of license, then they get this additional license to be able to allow them to serve at the premises where it's made, where the alcohol is made. Is that
Full
correct?
glasses, not the tasting glasses.
Full glasses, not just the
Glasses, not just the tasting.
So do you happen to have, given that this is 24 in a list, do you happen to have a list of the licensing fees just for comparison? Did you share that with us?
I did not, but I can send it to Faith right now. I can send the link to the statute so you can read through the section and see it. The manufacturer's license fee is $285.
Okay, so this is $230 on top of the $285. So it is significantly cheaper than a regular third class license, which is $10.95.
That is correct. And the $230 fee is equivalent to what a brewer or a vintner would pay for their first class license to be able to serve a full pour
On premise.
on premise.
Wait, can you repeat that? I'm sorry, Tucker. Could you repeat that?
Yeah, so this $230 fee for the third class license for a manufacturer is the same fee that a brewer or a vintner would pay to be able to do the same thing under a first class license.
I see. So it's essentially equating for non-wine and beer the same price for the same type of license, but this is on top of a third class license rather than on top of a first class license.
Right.
Correct.
Okay, that is helpful. If you could send the link to Faith, I'm just curious, but I think I'm okay with this.
Okay, Senator Bray.
So along the lines of Vermont's been growing all sorts of new businesses. There's a couple other things, and I wonder if on the list you can just tell me yes or no. Hard cider and kombucha.
So hard cider is grouped with wine. It is a vinous beverage. So they would get a first class license, the $230 fee. Kombucha would be a fermented beverage from agricultural products. So that would likely also fall under vinous beverages. So the way that the statutes separate things out, anything that's distilled, has high alcohol content is a spirit. Anything that is fermented from malts is malt beverages, beer, and all the other agricultural products, kombucha, mead, wine, cider, that get fermented specifically are vinous.
Okay, thank you very much. And just to be fair to like one maker in Middlebury, for instance, there are some that take alcohol out of their kombucha to bring it back under the limit so that it is quote unquote non-alcoholic. I think it's 0.5% qualifies or under is non-alcoholic.
And there's a trick there, Senator Bray, which is that if they are going to attempt to sell the alcohol that they have pulled out of that kombucha, they have undergone a chemical synthesis or distillation process, and that alcohol would be a spirit.
Okay, thank you. So they could be both. Got it.
Make hand sanitizer out of it. Okay, Senator McDonald.
Are there any alcoholic beverages that are not made from agricultural produce?
Not that I know of.
Oh, okay.
I'm not aware of any pine cone liquor.
Why?
But
okay, I just said. Okay,
yes.
Madam Chair, I'm trying to follow the history here. Brewers and distillers came in and had this novel idea to have people come to their premises and sample their products. And they were granted a license to do that. And then they came back and said, oh, we don't want to just sample our products here at the distillery or brewery. We want to sell someone else's products. And so we agreed to that. And they're doing good business, and people are lining up and buying those products and paying the 10% such and such and such and such. And now they're in asking to not have this, to reduce their license fees because they would prefer to pay lower license fees. Is that correct?
I don't know that Tucker can tell you why the motivation. Maybe Senator Sirotkin can.
Am I getting the history and the step-by-step?
There has been a gradual expansion coming out of Prohibition, which looked at laws as limiting or discouraging the use of alcoholic to seeing them as economic benefits and not wanting to have taxation stand in the way of the expansion of this industry,
Oh,
which
absolutely not.
started
Yeah.
generally as small,
So
local, two guys in a vat
completely understood. And
or
that has
my
been
kitchen.
that's been successful. And
Yes.
now we are being asked to not have them pay lower license fees.
No, I think Senator Surratt, can you fill us in on this?
Are we still talking about the 1095 fee?
Yes.
Okay, so I found an email it's a chain of emails from Senator Westman, and if I could take a moment to just read it, it's 4 bullet points. Distilleries have been able to serve full drinks since Act 10 of the 2009 legislative session. This was part of our manufacturer's license. Currently, DLL, Department of Liquor and Lottery, has encouraged the passage of new legislation requiring the use of Class 3 license to serve full drinks as the preferred legal route to going forward, which they're now allowed to do. The Vermont distilled spirits community reluctantly agreed to support this approach with the caveat that the liquor department would support a reduction of the fee for that third-class license. The DLC recognized that we were now going to be charged a fee for an activity that had previously been part of our distillery license. This specific approach also would come with an extra $1,000 fee. Because of this, DLL has supported our view that the fee for a distillery Class 3 license should be reduced for approved holders of a Vermont license to manufacture rectified spirits to $250 annually.
Okay, so they got their manufacturer's license, and they could
do it.
I'm assuming that what you can serve as a full is not the kind of full glass you can do with wine or beer. It's probably a full thing would be an ounce, maybe.
Right.
So they've been doing some small portion of an ounce,
right,
as part of it. Liquor control came in and said, for whatever reason, it would be easier for them if the amount served at the distilleries was the full shot.
Right.
Okay. So they did not ask for this. What they asked was not to be penalized by having their license go up $700 or some dollars, or because they didn't ask for it. It's for the convenience of the department. That's what I'm hearing. Okay.
That's why I read it too.
All right. So for once, it isn't the manufacturer that's creeping, it's the department. All right. Creeping exemptions, Senator McDonald, which we have been doing for years. Any other questions on this one? Concerns?
So, Madam Chair, if they're going from a sample to a full shot, and folks are paying for it, it behaves like a bar now instead of just a sampling place. Is that what's going on now?
Yes.
Witnesses saying yes. Okay, so I would presume that if it's a full shot, it costs more, and we're collecting more rooms and meals and alcohol tax under these circumstances. Would that be correct, Senator Surratt?
I would assume if these are not tasting samples and they're paying for the full shots, there's more revenue coming in. Yep.
Okay.
Sometimes we're told it's what it is, and sometimes it's explained to us what it is. So I thank you for the explanations and for allowing me the time to ask the questions. Thank you.
As long as they're not driving away afterwards.
We won't even go there. All right. Are there other sections in here, Tucker? Okay, let's keep going. We're on a roll.
If you move along to pages 6 and 7, bottom of page 6, top of page 7, in section 5, there is a fee waiver for the year 2021 for first and third class licenses that are issued to clubs. and clubs has a specific definition in Title VII. These are the organizations that are operating under a federal charter or something similar, veterans organizations, the Elks Lodge, the VFW, things like that. And I believe that somewhere there is a fiscal note that covers just how many of these organizations exist and what the total revenue from these fees is. But this would be a waiver for the remainder of the year 2021 and a reimbursement for any club that has renewed so far in 2021.
Senator Sorokin,
A waiver from what?
what's the purpose? I mean, I've
What's the
got,
wa-
I've got
First
two
and third
lines
class
here.
license fees.
Tucker could correct me on this. My understanding is that most of these clubs were shut down during COVID, and they asked the House and us and the department if they could have their licensing fees waived for the year of COVID. I think it's as simple as that. And the House.
We got a reduction in our car insurance because we weren't driving as much.
Did you? How much?
I didn't, but I don't know. Okay. So that's it. Committee? Any? Senator Hardy?
Well, I'm just trying to find the fiscal note on this as we're looking. Do you have it, Tucker? I mean, it's probably on the website. That's where I'm trying to get
It
to
may not have been done.
There was a fiscal note for House General and House Ways and Means that I can send you. It would likely need to be updated to reflect the new sections that are contained in this amendment, but it would have the piece about the clubs.
Okay, I actually just found it. It's there are approximately 95 clubs that receive first and third class licenses each year. This number dipped to 83 in 2019, 2020, presumably during the pandemic. The fiscal note assumes 90 licenses. Looks like a loss of about $10,000 to municipalities. I'm reading it quickly, but that's what
Licensing fees go to, don't they go to the department?
yeah, it's split.
Okay. But that's on the whole. So Montpelier's got a VFW and an American Legion.
Okay,
And
so
then-
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. It says if 90 licenses were exempt from all first and third class license fees in calendar 2021, then state revenue loss would be approximately $105,000. Approximately 45,000 of this revenue would impact the general fund, and 60,000 would impact the liquor control fund. This impact would be primarily in FY21, and municipalities would lose approximately $10,000 from the first class license fee exemption. That's what the fiscal note says for this section.
Senator Bray.
No, I've just worked with Mr. Anderson long enough to know that he had something to say, but was waiting.
No, Senator Hardy got there. I was just going to note that the municipalities only get a share from the first class license fee. So the state gets $115 and the municipality gets $115. But for the third class license fees for those clubs, the state gets all of the $1,095 fee. So there would be a big difference between the municipal loss and the state loss on that.
And this is the clubs only, right? So I guess it's really, yeah, we're going to lose some money. I think you can assume that since we shut the clubs down for a portion of time, that they also lost money. I'm sure that's the reckoning behind that. That does not take in the other changes, right? The reduction in the license fee. It does.
It does not.
It does not. That's what I thought I heard. Because that was added by the Senate. So Senator Sirotkin, did you get a fiscal note on that?
Apparently we did not. If Tucker says that the last fiscal note was done by the House, you're talking about the change to 260?
Yeah, the change to the distiller's license from that. Of course, if we haven't done that, then we haven't been
It's
collecting it at the
almost like-
$1,000 level.
Exactly.
So there's no loss because we
It's a
haven't
loss.
collected it. We've been
It's a-
collecting it at the 230 or whatever the level was.
It's a loss
Okay.
of a potential gain from what the
Okay.
House would have had.
It's counting your chickens before they're hatched. Senator Hardy.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Tucker about this because there is one other thing on this fiscal note, which is from March. So I don't know if this section was taken out or not, but it's section 1, and it says, according to the Vermont Department of Liquor and Lottery, there were approximately 150 standalone third-class licenses in a given year. If municipalities were to charge each of these licensing the extra $50 processing fee, then the total new revenue going to municipalities would be $7,500 per year.
Yes, that's the standalone first class license fee that we covered in section 1. And some of these standalones are clustered in a single municipality. JFO was not able to say whether, half of Vermont municipalities would get $50 or whether it would just be a handful of municipalities that would get the $7,500 annually split between them. But yeah, if you have a standalone third class licensee in your municipality, the municipality is going to get $50 for each one of them.
Okay, this was the first part that you went over. I'm
Right.
sorry, I forgot
Yeah.
about. Okay, got it.
That was the additional. And I think the other one is not raising the manufacturer's fee to serve full portions at their facility because they didn't ask for the change. So if the department finds it easier to serve full shots rather than case, then they don't think they should pay more, which is logical. Okay. Any further questions or discussion? Senator Bray.
I hesitate to ask, but
I was hoping it was a motion.
no, then I might have to report it. And I think Senator Sirotkin looks like the most able reporter of this one to me.
I think so.
The question is, Madam Chair, you keep saying full shots, but are we talking about full pours versus samples?
Yes.
Okay, so full shot meaning normal serving.
Yeah.
Just wanted to get straight what was going on.
I am working on the assumption that a full serve for a hard liquor is closer to a shot than a beer glass.
Yes. And I think
At least
At least in my memory, it was.
Yeah.
and I think a sample is barely visible when they give you that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a 12-ounce pour of
No.
spirit. Okay.
And I
Got it.
know you can get a pretty good buzz on at the farmer's market if you hit all the distillers. On Saturday morning, there's a bunch of them, or at least there used to be. Okay,
I'll move H313 as amended, Madam Chair.
okay, Senator Sirotkin has moved H213 as amended.
313.
313. There it is. Okay. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, that is 700, and Senator Sirotkin, you can report that. Okay, so we are on a roll here. Ooh, we are 12 minutes ahead of schedule, but I did see Jill Remick is with
Senator?
us.
Senator, Abby
Yes.
Shepherd can't join us till 2:00.
Okay, so committee, we can do appointments in 10 minutes. Let me find my email with the list.
Madam Chair, in the last vote, I think you indicated it was 7-0-0, and I
Yes.
only 6 senators present. Am I missing somebody?
Oh, that's right. Senator Pearson has left, so it is 6-0-0.
1, 601.
0-1. Okay.
What happens on a Friday afternoon after you've been dealing with shots and
Yeah,
So-
that's right. I am looking for Faith. Randy's got to leave early. All right, I'm looking for. Jeez, Faith just sent that to me. Okay, got it. All right, so we have done all our commissioners, but we have new appointees. I have Anthony Collier. This is to Vita. I have 3 appointments to Vita. One is Anthony Collier from Colchester. One is Mike Tuttle from South Burlington, and one is Stephen Voigt from Norwich. I think Senator McDonald, would you do Mr. Voigt? And Faith can send you this list.
glad to volunteer.
Maybe I'm not waiting for volunteers. These have to be done by next week.
Yep, I'm all ready to go.
All right. Colchester. Senator Brock, would you do Colchester? And maybe Senator Sirotkin, would you do South Burlington?
Okay.
I don't see Senator Sirotkin there, so,
Oh, I'm here. I'm here.
okay. Can
Uh-huh.
you do
Yeah.
Mike Tuttle to Vita?
Sure.
Okay. And then Stephen Voigt from Norwich, that's the one I gave to Senator McDonald.
Yep.
Mary Alice McKenzie, Senator Hardy, do you want to do her? That's to the Vermont Municipal Bond Bank. David Coates of
I'll do David.
Colchester. You'll do David, okay. We did Margaret Cheney, but it didn't come up today. And then I've got 2 more. Senator McDonald, can you do Thomas Levitt to the Vermont Housing Finance Agency?
Glad to volunteer.
Okay, and Senator Bray, can you do Lauren Wabi to Vermont Education and Health Buildings Finance Agency?
Oh, ready for duty.
Okay.
Faith is sending out information on how to
Yes,
reach these
we
people.
have emails and telephone numbers.
Okay.
And then I just have the ones I have from GovOps. Okay, not GovOps. Health and Welfare. All right, we have a 10-minute break, folks, so waiting for Abby. So if you want to stand up and stretch, just shut off your audio and video, and we'll take a quick break.
You want me to take you off live stream?
Yeah, if you dare.
I dare.
Okay.
Live stream now.